Have you ever wondered why, despite being someone who has so much love to give, relationships do not happen as they should? Why so many lonely moments? Why does it seem like no one chooses you? Perhaps the answer is deeper than it seems. Perhaps you are not alone by chance. Perhaps you have been set apart by God. Not everyone is called to follow the same path. While many build relationships, families, and stories together, there are people who simply cannot fit into this model. Not out of coldness nor from trauma, but because they carry a different calling. There is something in the souls of the chosen that demands more. More surrender, more focus, more silence, and less distraction. God does not isolate the chosen to punish them. He separates them to prepare them. There are people who have not entered your life because they could not bear the mission you carry. God protects what is rare. And if your romantic paths have been interrupted, do not see this as rejection. See it as purpose. You have not been forgotten. You have been reserved. I am George, and if this resonates with what you feel deep down in your soul, it is because this message is for you. Here, we talk about truth, calling, purpose, and spiritual identity. So follow the channel now, because there is still much to discuss, and you do not have to walk alone on this journey. For many people, there is an expected path: study, work, get married, and start a family. This model is repeated across generations and considered the right way to live. But for some, this script simply does not fit. There is something different within them that makes them question this cycle. They feel that they were born for something beyond. Those chosen by God often carry a silent restlessness. From an early age, they feel that they belong to a calling that the world does not understand. It is not a lack of love or desire for a relationship. It is that there is a deeper fire burning inside, something that pushes them in a direction that does not always include a romantic partner. This feeling can be confusing. You look around and everyone seems to be living what was planned. Marriages, children, happy photos. And you wonder if there is something wrong with you. But there is not. What happens is that your mission was written with different ink. Your path is rare, and because of that, often lonely. Some were called to build families, others to build legacies. The chosen ones do not always find a partner because the mission they carry requires a total surrender. They are called to serve, teach, and transform. And often this asks for freedom, silence, and focus. What seems like absence is, in fact, space for something greater to happen. Many of God's greatest instruments on earth were lonely in the eyes of the world. They lived without a romantic partner, but they were full of purpose. Each step was guided from above. Their lives were not about having someone by their side, but about fulfilling a mission that touched thousands. And perhaps this is also your calling. When the script of the majority does not apply, it is because yours was written directly in heaven. You are not less for being alone. You are being shaped for something specific. Something that the world does not understand, but that heaven recognizes. And when the time comes to reveal everything, even the silence that surrounds you today will make sense. It is hard to see time pass and not live a relationship like others. You pray, wait, take care of your heart, but nothing happens. Sometimes it feels like you are being left behind, and this feeling, when not understood, can generate sadness, comparison, frustration. But heaven has a deeper answer. You have not been forgotten. You have been preserved. There are people who did not enter your life not because of a lack of beauty, worth, or merit. They did not stay because God did not allow it. Not because you are unworthy of love, but because those relationships would distract you, drain you, and delay you. God does not reject his chosen ones. He protects them, even from themselves if necessary. Silence in the love field is not punishment, it is care. God does not hand over the heart of a chosen one to just anyone. He knows the weight of your calling, the size of your commitment, and that is why he allows your romantic life to seem stuck. It is an intentional pause, an invisible care, a preparation that frees you from unnecessary pains. If God separated you, it is because he has something greater reserved. He knows your sensitivity, your depth, and your capacity to love. And that is why he does not allow any superficial connection. He guards your feelings so that you do not waste love on fleeting bonds. What you see as absence is, in fact, the hand of God freeing you from empty cycles. Many times we look back and see relationships that we wanted so much but that did not work out. And today, with more clarity, we realize that they were deliverances. God closed doors that you, by impulse, would have left open. He did not want to punish you, but to protect you. Your lack of romance is a spiritual shield, and this is proof of love, not rejection. There are hearts that were made to soar higher, to walk with fewer distractions and more commitment. And you may be one of them. Do not let emotional need interpret God's care as abandonment. He has not excluded you. He has positioned you. And time will reveal how essential this was for your destiny. When the right moment comes, and if it is part of your mission, love will come as a promise, not as a distraction. And you will understand why so many no's happened before. God guards what he values. And if he has kept your heart until now, it is because he knows that your future is too precious to be shared with someone who will not add to it. Healthy relationships require time, care, presence. It is necessary to give of oneself, to build, to invest emotionally. But there are callings that ask for exactly the same, only in even greater proportions. Some chosen ones have been set apart for a mission that does not allow for division. They were not made to live with their hearts divided between heaven and earthly affections. The Apostle Paul speaks about this wisely. In 1 Corinthians 7, he explains that those who are single have the freedom to devote themselves fully to the things of the Lord. Married individuals, on the other hand, need to balance their attentions. There is no condemnation in this. There is understanding. Paul does not diminish marriage. He simply recognizes that certain missions require complete focus, and that is rare. Some are called to devote their lives entirely to a divine purpose. They are prophetic voices, intercessors, full-time servants. And God, knowing the burden of the mission, alleviates relational weight, not as punishment, but as strategy. He knows that any distraction can divert these sensitive hearts from the path that heaven has mapped out so precisely. This can seem harsh at certain moments. Neediness arises, loneliness screams, the body feels it. But when spiritual vision opens, everything makes sense. God did not take something away from you. He delivered a higher mission, and to fulfill it, he preserved you. You were set apart because your focus needs to be where most cannot look. Those who carry this type of calling feel a different urgency. While others engage in common routines, the chosen ones feel that they have no time to waste. There is a generation to be touched, a word to be released, a healing to be delivered. And all of this requires total presence. A divided heart could not bear the weight of surrender. There are missions that demand unpredictable schedules, sudden changes, unplanned trips, radical decisions. And many relationships cannot sustain this rhythm. God, knowing this, prefers to prevent you from entering into bonds that hold you back. He wants you to be available to move when he commands, without needing to ask permission from anyone other than him. This does not mean that you will never love or be loved, but it means that while the mission is a priority, God will continue to be your center, your source, and your faithful companion. And this, no matter how lonely it seems, is where your strength is. Your surrender protects you. Your renunciation aligns you. Your focus empowers you. Some lives are called not to live like everyone else. They walk more lightly because they need to go farther. It is not about despising human love, but about recognizing that, at certain moments, there is something more urgent calling. And the chosen one who understands this finds peace, even without company, because they know they are where God needs them to be. Many people still confuse being single with being lonely, but there is a big difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is the absence of company. Solitude is presence with oneself and with God. And when heaven calls you to this type of separation, it is not to leave you empty, but to fill you with what really matters. God uses times of solitude to work on areas that only silence can access. He heals old wounds, cures hidden traumas, reveals truths that you would not hear amidst the noise. It is in the closed room, in the waiting time, that heaven speaks the loudest. The absence of relationships is often the space that God needs to rebuild you. Look at the stories of men and women who spiritually impacted the world. Many of them spent years without emotional ties, and this was not a detail. It was part of the preparation. God preserved them, hid them, set them apart, because there was something within them that needed to be refined before being released. And perhaps you are exactly in this process right now. Solitude brings clarity. When there is no one to please or impress, you begin to see yourself as you truly are. And that is where God comes in. He reveals gifts, awakens forgotten talents, ignites dormant spiritual passions. The time without relationships turns into a time of polishing. And when this process ends, you feel lighter, more whole, more firm. The world may see this time as a delay, but God sees it as construction. Because while you are alone, He is preparing you for something greater. You may not recognize it now, but all of this will flourish. The seeds that are being planted in your solitude will bear fruit that will nourish other lives, with words, with presence, with purpose. Solitude should not be feared, but embraced. It is in this place that the heart aligns with heaven, that desires are purified, that emotional dependence gives way to trust in God. And when this transformation happens, you understand that the lack of a relationship was not wasted time. It was divine investment in your interior. Those who go through this process do not come out the same. They come out healed, repositioned, full of meaning, because they discovered that they do not need another person to be complete. They discovered that the presence of God is enough. And it is this discovery that changes everything, because from it, any human love that comes will be a bonus, and not the foundation of your existence. Not all love needs to be romantic to be true. The world teaches that the pinnacle of love is being in a relationship, but heaven works with a different logic. God teaches the chosen ones to love with breadth, to love those who do not reciprocate, to love those who hurt, to love by serving, loving in silence, with presence, with words, with intercession. The chosen ones usually do not love in a common way. They carry within them a compassion that goes beyond feeling. They care about pains that others ignore. They have a heart that is moved by the suffering of others. And many times this type of love demands so much that there is no room left for a traditional relationship, because the surrender is entirely for the mission. While many are focused on building something for two, the chosen ones are busy building something greater. They are called to love crowds, to see invisible people, to heal with simple gestures, time, attention, listening, all of this becomes a divine tool. They do not live to receive love, they live to give it. This is rare, and this is spiritual. This deep love does not appear in photos nor gain likes. It does not become status on social networks, but it is real. It is discreet, yet intense, and it is recognized where it matters most, in heaven. God observes the small acts, the renunciations made in silence, the daily sacrifices, and he honors this type of love because he knows how much it costs. Many chosen ones are misunderstood. People do not understand how they can live without a fixed partner. They think it is strange to see someone so full of love but seemingly alone. Little do they know that this love is being invested in souls, in causes, in healings. They are not alone. They are on a mission. And their way of loving is part of the plan. To love as God loves is one of the most difficult and noble tasks. And many chosen ones are exactly in this calling. They are sent to comfort, uplift, and inspire. Where there is coldness, they bring warmth. Where there is confusion, they bring direction. Where there is despair, they sow hope. They are channels of a love that transforms without needing romance to exist. If you feel this type of love flowing within you, even without being in a relationship, understand, this is not neediness. It is a calling. You have been empowered to love deeply, and heaven chose you precisely for this, because it knew that your heart would be willing to love as few can, with true surrender and without expecting applause. It is very easy to fall into the idea that those who are single are lacking something. This belief is fed by movies, songs, social media, and even well-meaning family members. Society screams that you need someone to be happy. But when you look with the eyes of faith, you realize that this is not the truth about your story. In Christ, you are already complete, not partially, not almost, whole. Your identity does not depend on a relationship. God did not create you halfway for another person to complete you. He formed you whole. He equipped you with gifts, purpose, wisdom, sensitivity. Everything you need to live a full life has already been deposited within you. Many believe that a relationship will solve insecurities. But the truth is that if you do not feel complete alone, you will feel empty even when accompanied. Because it is not the other person who fills you. It is God. And when He occupies the center of your life, everything that comes afterward will be merely a complement, not a necessity. Being whole in God also protects you. It prevents you from accepting less than you deserve. When you see yourself as someone complete, you do not cling to emotional crumbs. You do not enter relationships out of neediness, but for a purpose. You do not look for someone to save you, but for someone with whom you can walk side by side and not as lost halves. This understanding changes your way of living. You begin to enjoy solitude as a time of growth. You value your own achievements. You care for your heart like a sacred garden. You learn to be enough for yourself. And when love arrives, if it is God's will, it will find a whole you, not someone waiting to be completed. God does not have incomplete children. He has children in process. And if you are in this process now, understand, it is not absence, it is construction. What the world calls loneliness, heaven calls preparation. What seems empty, God uses as a foundation. What seems silent is Him shaping you for something that will still be revealed. You are not late. You are not wrong, nor have you fallen behind. You are at the center of God's will. And this in itself is already fullness. Trust the process. Honor this time. Live your mission with completeness, because the deepest love you can live begins in God and spreads out from Him. Jesus lived single, not because there was a lack of love in His heart, but because his mission required absolute focus, total commitment, and complete freedom. What the world would see as an absence of affection, heaven saw as positioning. Christ loved more than any human being could love, but that love was directed to many, not concentrated in one relationship. When you feel that your love pathway is different, when relationships do not flow as they do for others, it does not mean that there is something wrong with you. Sometimes it is exactly the opposite. It may be that God has set your life apart for a purpose that does not fit common standards. And this, though difficult, is a spiritual honor. Many of those called by God for something greater experience a journey marked by separations. Not only romantic, but also emotional, social, and even familial. And all of this has a reason. God separates before he sends. He isolates before he raises. He cleans before he uses. This process may seem like rejection in human eyes, but it is refinement in the eyes of heaven. Being set apart by God means being in constant preparation. He needs your whole heart, your full attention, your sensitive listening. Many will not understand your choice. They will say that you demand too much, or that you are waiting for something that does not exist. But what you are waiting for is not just anything. It is the exact direction of God. This separation often makes you walk alone. You will see people building homes, celebrating weddings, living loves, and your path will seem stagnant. But it is not. It is being aligned. It is being purified. God is adjusting every step, every area, so that when you are launched, there will be no distraction capable of pulling you off course. Greater missions require greater levels of surrender. It is easy to love one person. It is harder to love crowds. And many chosen ones have been called exactly for this, to carry the love of God to those who need it most. Hurt, forgotten, marginalized people. God sends those who have a clean heart, a healed soul, and free hands. That is why he set you apart. You may miss something you have never lived. You may cry for not understanding why emotional doors are closed. But heaven knows the complete plan. God is building in you something that is not based on companionship but on presence. He wants you to know that his presence is enough, and it is from that presence that your mission is born. Those separated by God are not better, but they are called to something specific. And this calling often requires that you walk against the flow. You will say no to opportunities that seem good but are not aligned. You will feel tempted to give in to the pressure of time. But the Spirit will remind you, not yet. I have set you apart. This separation frees you from wrong alliances. It protects you from ties that would bind you. It prevents you from reducing your mission to something comfortable. Because what God will do through your life requires space, freedom, strength. Heaven did not call you to live limited. He called you to be a bridge, a response, a voice. And this requires that you be whole in him. If you have been living a solitary path but feel the Spirit of God accompanying you, trust. You are not being forgotten. You are being positioned. God does not leave his chosen ones lost. He shapes them with care, protects them with zeal, sends them with precision. And when the right time comes, you will see that every no was actually a great yes disguised. Being set apart hurts, but it also purifies. It aligns. It prepares. And those who go through this process come out stronger, more sensitive, more available. God does not separate to isolate. He separates to activate. And when you are released to fulfill what you carry, you will understand that it was worth it. Because the world needs exactly what only you, whole and focused, can deliver. If you have made it this far, it is because something inside you understood what was said, and that matters. Because people with different callings feel things differently. You realized early on that your path would not be like the majority's. And yet you tried to fit in. You tried to follow the rhythm of the world. But something always held you back. It was not bad luck. It was not a lack of beauty, worth, or merit. It was direction. God prevented certain bonds, not to frustrate you, but to preserve you. He saw things you did not see. He understood what you do not yet understand. And that is why he set you apart. Not for isolation, but for alignment with something greater. When he guards you, it is because what you carry cannot be wasted. Your energy, your sensitivity, your ability to see beyond. All of this has a certain destiny. And wrong relationships would drain that. Distractions would weaken that. That is why your walk needs to be clean, intentional, and protected. It is not ego. It is purpose. There is nothing wrong with desiring company, but do not be fooled. Being accompanied by someone who does not understand your mission can be lonelier than walking alone. God knows this, and that is why, before bringing together, he separates. Before releasing, he prepares. Before trusting people into your hands, he strengthens your interior. Now it is your turn. I want you to comment here about something real. No cliches. Share what this word activated in you. Write with truth. Your comment may be exactly what someone needed to read today. You are not forgotten. You are in process. And those who are in process with God are never stagnant.